Relax and get loose while I put you up on game. The Figure Booth with Josh and Nate. This that podcast folk. Those in the know. Batman vs. Iron Man. How would it go? We talking one of a kind. Collectibles. Mezco toys are respectable. It's unacceptable if it's not in the packaging. Nate don't take pics if you ain't rapping it. Nate's dirty tricks are always happening. But damn it, man, don't you be stressing. Round here we believe in plastic confessions. We trying to figure out the figures that's gonna stand the test of time. That G.I. Joe handmade hit me in the spine. There's perfection in the way that these toys are made. But I also wanna know, do I pick Wade or Slade? So this is where I come to kick it with the guys. The Figure Booth. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Is up, Toy Fam? You have made it to another episode of the Figure Booth, here where we talk about the ups and downs of the modern day collector. We go over pre-orders, we do weekly hauls, which we call our plastic confessions, and from time to time we do interviews with those in the toy community. My name is Josh, also known as Prime to the First. I'm joined by my friend and co-host Nate.
Hey guys, this is FigureFan_Nate, and you've reached episode 59, which we're calling Circle of Influence.
Oh, it's a dicey one. It's one that we've been working, and man, it's good to be back. I took a small little vacation, little R&R, you know?
It's good to have you back, Prime. I always feel like naked when Prime's not on the show, or like if I do a live without Prime, like I'm missing my pants or I'm missing my shirt.
The good thing you didn't stand up. I saw the live. Great job. Good thing you didn't stand up. You were Donald ducking it, taking a page out of Adam Playing with Myself's book. So
yeah, I mean,
that's good.
Why not? Be comfortable while you're streaming. If you're going to be nervous, might as well be comfortable at least. And no pants is how I treat that.
I'll take that. I'll note that down for when it's my turn. I'll be like, pants on or pants off? And then you might just see me wearing pants, and then it's just like I'm dressed upside down. So we'll see.
Or a combination of the two, like Adam style, cut off jean shorts. You know, you barely have some pants. Yeah. Barely have pants.
Barely have pants on.
Yeah, but it's good to have you back, Prime.
It's good to be back and good in front of y'all, and another episode drop in, and we're gonna relax and get you loose, hopefully.
Or put you up on game.
Yeah. So what are we talking about this week? Circle of Influence.
Yeah, we're talking about the Circle of Influence, and I think there's been a lot of hot topics recently in the toy community with influencers in general and people making videos and saying certain things and providing certain rankings. And, you know, it's just one of those hot topics that me and Prime wanted to focus on. It's something that a lot of people are talking about right now. So why not break down our thoughts of what we think, you know, maybe about circle influence and influencers in general, and just kind of what's going on in the community right now.
And that's the great thing. Like, we want to have this good dialogue and bring insight, because I think there's a negative connotation to the word influencer, and a good portion of the community does a great job of explaining it. Like some of the individuals will mention, like JC, he did a really good job on a video of just addressing some of the issues or some of the things that have happened, the incidents. But he also defines influencer, and he kind of breaks it down from a business standpoint. And I think a lot of that is the misinformation that most of us don't know, because we either haven't gone through that, or we've never been exposed to that, where from a marketing standpoint, like, you need individuals to be labeled as influencers. That's just part of the business plan. And that's how marketing 101 kind of works. Like, you need someone to represent, you need, you know, people to sell your stuff. And from a salesperson's background, that kind of makes sense, you know, like, influencer is not necessarily a bad thing. I think nowadays it's too easily individuals label themselves as influencers. That's neither here nor there. But I think that sometimes gets confused, where the label is like, oh, that person's calling themselves an influencer, and therefore it's a bad thing.
Right. Yeah. And just so everybody's on the same page, what really is the definition of an influencer? And from what I found, it's a person with the ability to influence potential buyers of a product or service by promoting or recommending the items on social media.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have some kind of social media influence or a following, and you are providing your opinions. So you're influencing others based on that opinion. And so one thing that I thought was really cool that JC said, that you may not consider yourself an influencer, but for anybody on Instagram or on YouTube that are receiving free product for whatever reason, whether it's free figures or free accessories, or you're getting free shirts or whatever the case is, that company considers you an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with that comes a certain responsibility as well. They're going to send you that free product, and they're expecting that you're going to help them sell that product, and that's why they wanted to send it to you. So I think, whether or not you consider yourself an influencer, I think that's one of the easiest ways to kind of classify it in my mind.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a really simple term, because I think even if you take it to another level where you don't necessarily, even if you buy it yourself, you're like, I get influenced by those within my circle of trust. Like, you influence me, some of my other friends, they're like, hey, get this figure, the enablers, hey, we influenced each other. I don't think of it as that big of a thing where, I am seeing Mario as an influencer. Even though he influenced me on buying some Joy Toy figs or Acid Rain, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Where I think sometimes the confusion gets, where I'm seeing comments or discussions where people get labeled influencer as a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, and I think it takes away from the main message. And like the big incident that had happened was right during SDCC, right? And a lot of people have said their piece, and I think it was really important for us to kind of just not necessarily take a stand, but just put our 2 cents, or put at least a voice to our message of what I saw transpire and happen, and kind of seeing everyone else give their opinion on it. And for the most part, it seems like a lot of us in the toy community are saying the same thing, where that type of behavior doesn't represent a majority of the community. It probably represents like less than 1%, because it's not necessarily what an individual can say to a certain extent, it's how they say it. And the tone in that video, it's a very negative tone. You can see through and read between the lines. There's a negative tone to it, and that was what was really alarming, is the tone to the way you say certain things. That's where I'm not going to stand for that. And that's just the rhetoric behind that. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know, it's mind numbing, where you're going to act like a child, yet you want to get treated with respect, but you're not giving it. Like, come on. Like, it reminds me of, like, you're acting like we're in the playground, and you're getting mad because you didn't get picked to be on the dodgeball team or something.
Right. No, I agree. And I think if you're going to be an influencer, if you're going to try to have some type of YouTube presence, you got to work on your professionalism and keeping your personal opinions out of your professional opinion, because you might think a certain way on something, or be upset that you haven't received free figures, but there's a certain way to say that, or try to build those relationships, rather than coming at it from a negative standpoint, or using derogatory remarks, or racial slurs. For anybody that didn't see that JC video, what we're talking about is something that TalkerArt posted, who does his own toy reviews, makes videos of the hobby, that type of thing. Found some guys from the Marvel Legends team at SDCC, used a racial slur, calling them Asian twins, and just started.
And again, it was the tone. Like, that's really what you can hear it. It's not even like, okay, he said Asian twins, but the way you go about it, like, there was a tone. If someone steals your lunch, it's like, hey man, I'm really sorry, I took your lunch, I'll make it up to you. Okay, there's some sincerity, there's empathy behind that. When you're like, hey, I took your lunch, or you're not even looking at me, you're not making eye contact, you're like, hey, I took your lunch, sorry about that, and then just walk away, like, you don't feel bad at all. So that's what I mean, where it's like, it was the tone that you can clearly, there's something else, there's like a mixed message. And then when you hold up your hands, you're like, well, what? I wasn't being racist. Like, come on, man. Like, you're beating around the bush, and that's BS. Like, to me, that's BS. And I mean, at the end of the day, TalkerArt is not my cup of tea. I've never seen any of his reviews, but just seeing how JC's take on that, it was like spot on. Like, kudos to JC. He really did a great job in that video.
Yeah, I agree. And there's ways to offer criticism that are respectful. And if you have a disagreement, or if you are trying to, quote unquote, call somebody out, if you have legitimate criticism, there's a certain way to go about that. But if you come off as derogatory and
Yeah.
just rude and, using slurs and profanity, you've just lost all your legitimacy. And nobody's going to take you seriously after that. Like, hey, if
Well,
you
when you
had
can't
something
even
valid to
articulate,
say,
yeah, you can't even articulate a valid argument. You have no ground to stand on. Again, like the rhetoric is just like mind numbing. Like, where are you coming from? You're coming from left field. You're talking a bunch of nonsense that doesn't make any sense to the actual product. Your complaint is about the product, but yet you're bashing all your fellow YouTubers or your fellow peers. We're all in the same field.
mhm,
Um, but then yet you're still buying the product, but yet you're still complaining about it. It's like, what? Either A, don't buy it, and then if the rebuttal is going to be like, well, I can do what I want. Okay, then yeah, you can't just. You're being so annoying. Like you're not making any sense. Like your argument doesn't go with what you're complaining about. You're complaining about something completely different because it shows the lack of understanding. Because it almost gives me the impression that you actually think that Dan and Ryan are the ones that are sitting there making the figures, making all the decisions, and then like you don't fail to recognize that they're playing their role, their job, and that's their 9 to 5 job. That's like their career. Where hey, they're in the marketing business. They're there to market the product. There's a whole team, which a lot of the times those three, Dwight, Ryan, and Dan, have given a lot of kudos to. Like there's a whole team, and that's the thing. Like to me, I'm like, dude, you're not 10 years old. Hopefully you have a real job, and most of us have been where as you climb up the corporate ladder, like there's a team behind it. There's the people that are the talent, there's people that are designers. Like it takes a village to create a product. And if you're just moaning and crying and complaining about one single thing and you're taking it out on one individual, like that doesn't make any sense. Your lack of understanding is clear. So why would I even want to deal with you?
mhm. Yeah, no, and I think people kind of lose that
Yeah.
filter. Like,
Yep.
hey, these guys aren't making the product, but they're helping promote the product.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, you are representing your company, so maybe I have something that I want to say to you about something that I
Right.
don't like about your company,
Right. Sure.
and you can maybe share that somewhere else, but do it respectfully and do it in a manner that is offering some type of constructive criticism, not just being an asshole.
And
Um,
and that's a good point. That's a good point, Nate, because like a lot of us have worked in retail. And like I remember when I was going to college, I worked in retail, and a lot of customers come in and be pissed off that maybe their card didn't go through. And I worked at a bank, and they're like, "Oh, you declined my card, or you did." And I'm like, "I didn't do anything. You didn't
right.
have enough money in your account," or like they think whatever bank I was working at, they thought like I was the one representing that. And a lot of times that would always make me chuckle because the customers would always tell me, "Oh, you did this, you bounced my check." I'm like, "I didn't even see your check." So that's where
Mhm.
I'm like, how can you go to Dan and be like, "Oh, you're giving this," and I'm like, dude, the lack of understanding that you have no knowledge of how a business works, and then you're mad that they're engaging the community. Like I think Hasbro in its entirety, like especially the Marvel Legends team, that's huge. You would think you would want to applaud them that they've reached out and they've included those in the community like Shardamus, Unparallel, like
Mhm.
Jay, Kevin, toying around. Like they're giving these samples. Toy Migos just got like it's those that influence us on a lower scale, I guess, if you want to, if we want to talk about hierarchy, but they're reaching out to those within the community that we have like day-to-day conversations. Like I talk to those guys on a day-to-day basis where it's so cool to see them get handed a product. Dan, who has been doing a lot of reveals, where else are you going to see in a different industry where a company on that scale is going to reach out to the community that close?
Yeah.
You're not going to see, you don't see that often. Now it's being more prominent where they're using either TikTokers or YouTubers to do that. But again, like that's the marketing model that we're now
Mhm.
kind of accustomed to, and yet you're bashing them for that. Like that's crazy. And then you still want product. Like that's a
Yeah.
weird way to ask for a favor by
Right.
serving me shit on a platter. Like
Right.
it's still shit. Like I don't want that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you know, even though an influencer it could be an individual person or these toy reviewers are individual people, I think their
Yeah.
brand is almost like a representation of quote unquote like their company. So
Yeah,
like when you
for
have
sure.
your brand like that, you've got to represent your brand and not just represent yourself and your personal thoughts. And, it's just, think about it this way, like somebody, like an executive from Target or something, goes and talks to you and says, hey, you're being a real bitch about returning your product. It's just like, wait, you're from Target and you're talking to me like that? I'm using a very wild example, but this guy TalkerArt, he's got a channel that is representing himself, and you've basically just shown how unprofessional you can really be, by using those slurs and stuff. So just, think about it. These toy companies are bigger corporations, but these influencers are also their own brand and their own company. And I don't think influencers in the toy community are big enough to be getting paid. And this is something that kind of JC talked about. Yes, you may be getting free product, but you're also kind of providing a service for that that free product. These companies know that you're a toy reviewer or you have a big following, and a lot of people are going to see this. It's free marketing. Why not do that? Why would I go and create a commercial or try to create an Instagram ad and pay all this money when I can just send Wade a figure and get at least 10,000 views from everybody watching that and hearing his thoughts? Now, another thing I think that gets lost in that is that people assume that if you're getting a free product, you are not going to say anything negative about said product because you don't want to ruin the relationship. I don't think that's true. I think these companies are expecting, you might hear some negative things, or you got a little bit of negative mixed with positive. But at the end of the day, the toy community for me is a form of escapism. I'm not trying to go and hear somebody bash a figure. I want to hear their positive thoughts. I want to hear them enjoy it. Yes, call out some things maybe that aren't that great, but know what you're getting into. If it's a Marvel Legends, we know what we're getting with the Marvel Legends. That does not expect somebody to be like, hey, the paint doesn't look great, or the paint's not up to Mezco quality. Like, it's not the same product. You know what you're getting there. So I get pissed off when I hear people are like, "Oh, you're being too positive. You're not being negative enough." Like, don't criticize how I'm doing it. Like, this is how I do reviews, and whether or not I'm getting a free product, I'm going to approach it the same way. At least that's how I think these guys are approaching it too. That pisses me off, and I don't even make toy reviews, but I'm like, just let these guys do what they want to do. If you don't like it, then go find another toy reviewer that maybe is more negative or wants to focus on things that you want to focus on. But if you're coming to this guy's channel, you know what you're going to get. They're not going to change their formula for you because they're some kind of product.
And to me, it's just like it's that one bad apple that spoils the bunch, because a lot of the comments in the threads that I've been seeing, it's like, oh, he's keeping it real. He's keeping it real. I'm like, to me, that is not real. That is ignorant. That is keeping it ignorant, because one thing does not have to do with the other. Like, if you're complaining about the product, which if you're going to complain about the product and give constructive criticism, then do so. And it's like, make some valid points. But when you start including something that has nothing to do with the figure, and it's either acts of doing stuff to other, like, it's coming out of left field and doesn't make any sense. Like, you lose me at that point, because then I'm like, what are you talking about? Just stick to what is the pros and cons of the specific figure. Like right now with Legends, they're pumping out a ton of characters, B-list or C-list. Some are gold, some aren't. That's okay. Like, I don't expect, if I'm a collector, I don't expect that Hasbro is like putting out every single figure that's on my wish list. That would be insane. If I'm expecting, oh, they should have like a ton of accessories. Like, I'm seeing like they don't have a ton of accessories. Okay, it's not for me. I'm gonna move on to the next figure. It's as easy as that. I'm not gonna sit there and dwell on it and just keep calling them out. Oh, the lack of accessories, or you guys are not doing the trying to save the plastic. Now they're changing their box, and I'm gonna complain about that. Like, I could sit there and complain about it. I have no control over it, which was a reason behind our episode, was the circle of influence, and something that we wanted to share with you guys. I will share my screen, and for my audio listeners, I'll try to do my best to describe this. So a lot of times, this is what is called the circle of influence, and you may have seen it, you may have not seen it, but it is done by an author named Stephen Covey. And he does a lot of leadership classes. He does a lot of leadership books. He did a book of the 7 habits of highly effective people. I definitely recommend it. And a lot of times, the biggest thing, like I'm huge on leadership books, huge. And one of the best books I read always said, no, title does not dictate leadership. And it's really your mindset. This circle
Mhm.
of influence really tells you kind of how your perspective should work, and a lot of times where you get caught up. So there's 2 circles that we're showing. One is a circle of concern. It's the outer layer, and I'll kind of go over what's on the outer rim of that circle. And then there's an inner circle, which is called the circle of influence. So the circle of influence contains like your own attitude, your own behavior, what you watch on TV, how you speak, how you think of yourself, how you carry yourself, the relationships you have, things that you have control over. The outer circle is your circle of concern, is the behaviors of others, the news, social media, politics, statistics, things that you really don't have control over. And the
Mhm.
best way that I can give you an example of this is, let's say you're sitting in your car, you're stuck in traffic, and it's bumper to bumper. You could be pissed at the guy in front of you. It could be Nate. He's driving slow. He's on his phone, or he's trying to do a live stream. Maybe it's Sunny. He's doing a stream with me on traffic, or
Struggling
maybe
with
it's
his
Wade
knee.
complaining about SDC. Yeah, it's like you could have all these YouTubers around you, and we're stuck in traffic, and you're pissed at them. But what does that do? Maybe you don't realize that same car in front of you, there's an accident, or someone is on all 4 flat tires, or it could be something really tragic. Someone could be in a life-changing event, and you're over here pissed because you're stuck in traffic. You have no control of that. That's your circle of concern. If you start focusing on your environment, what can you change inside your car? You can turn on the AC, kind of cool the temperature. All right, let me relax and get loose a little bit. Let me put on some good music. Let me listen to my favorite podcast. Let's throw on the
Mhm.
figure booth. Change your mood. It immediately changes your mindset. And then now you're focused on your circle of influence. What you specifically have control over. And that's the biggest thing, is a lot of times we get so carried away with our circle of concern where we have no control over. This is a good segue to that tier list that's been going like crazy. And the comments that I saw, like so many people were like, oh, I don't agree with this list. I'm like, who cares? Or I'm not gonna watch it. This is too long. Who cares? Don't watch it then. Like I I saw it. I'm like, great, he did a list. That's awesome. If I really felt like inclined, like just to see who he ranks, good. I would check it out. I didn't check it out, but at the same time, I didn't necessarily thought bad. I was almost like, cool. He took the time to share his opinion with everybody, rank his favorite reviewers. He watches a whole lot more reviews than I do. I there's so many, and it showed me that there's so many more reviews that I don't know about, and
Mhm.
that's great. There's an abundance out there. But I wanted to share with you guys this circle of influence because it's a real thing, and really, this mentality of being a leader, it doesn't really necessarily have to always apply on a professional level. It can always apply on a personal level. Whether you end up having kids or you don't have kids, you have fur babies, whether it's a cat, dog, in your own family. We all play those roles, and at one moment or another, you're going to find yourself in a position of being a leader, and someone is going to be following you.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, we have to have that right mindset, because eventually we all become leaders. We just want to be careful what type of leader we become.
Now, I love this, man. The circle of concern versus circle of influence. This is something that I try to tell my wife a lot, or just friends in general that might be stressing about things that are outside of their control. And
Hmm.
I'll remind them, like, you have any control over what you're worrying about right now?
Yeah.
And they might say no, and I'm like, okay, well then why are you worrying about it? Because if there's nothing you can do about it, then why you concern yourself with that? Like you brought up with the example of being in traffic. If I'm going
Yeah.
slow in front of you, you can't make me go any faster by beeping at me or by getting on
Yeah.
my ass. Might as well just change your concern. Like, okay, I'm going
Yeah.
to be concerned with just listening to a podcast right now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put something on that puts me at ease, because that's what I can control, and that's what's going to influence my current concern. If I keep worrying about these things that I can't control, it's going to drive me nuts, and I'm going to keep stressing, and it's going to make it worse. Like my wife sometimes, like, am I going to get scheduled this day? Am I going to have this day off? Like,
Hmm.
there's really nothing you can do about it. So let's just wait to see what happens, and then deal with the issues if there is one. But I think a lot of people will create issues that don't even exist because they're concerned about what it might do or
Yep.
what someone might say. Like
Yeah.
you got politics and the news. You know, I see something on the news that worries me.
Yeah.
Okay, I can be aware of that, but maybe don't stress about it so much because there's not a whole lot I can do about it. Other than, you know, if it's a political thing, I can control how I vote,
Right.
but I can't control the outcome of that vote.
Right. Yeah.
So don't stress about it until you see what the results are. I think a lot of people create stress without even knowing what the end result's going to be.
Oh yeah. And
Um,
that's a huge challenge, really, like not getting stuck in the circle of concern, because a
yeah.
lot of times you feel like you have some type of control over the outcome. Like, let's say you have a family member that's in surgery, you're just stressed or worried about it, and it's hard to be like, hey, just don't worry about it. But you really can't. You have to, like, just, okay, what can I control? I can go for a walk, I can read a book, I can do
Yes.
something to take my mind off of it, because at the end of the day, the only thing we can control is ourselves. That's it. And that's where we want to spend most of our time, is who can I influence the most? Is myself. Like, I'm going to be
Right.
able to, and that's why, in this example we're showing you guys, the circle of influence has things you post on social media. That's what you can control. You can either be an advocate for your own personal brand, which we've talked about on a few episodes, or you can focus on things that you don't really necessarily have control over.
Mhm.
Stick to your regular schedule. Like, if your thing is posting pictures, and don't get carried away with what's going on social media. Don't get carried away with this ranking. Like, I saw so many people get bent out of shape,
Mhm.
because of this ranking. To me, it was irrelevant. It didn't matter that this individual ranked certain individuals so high, because I may watch him, I may not. What difference did that make on his list? It's like that top 10 list that a lot of YouTubers create. Like, so many people don't agree. Oh, I can't believe you put Pizza Spider-Man as number one. He sucks. It's like, okay, so it's my
Yeah.
list. Like, who cares? To me,
Right.
that is like mind numbing. The post I saw was on a Facebook group for Marvel Legends, and the comments were just all over the place. It was just crazy. And the guy who posted, he was just like, "You don't have to watch it. You don't have to watch it. Like, you don't have to watch." I'm
Mhm.
like, I would have stopped responding a long time ago. But I was
Well,
like, yeah, he's right. You don't have to watch it, and you don't have to agree with it either. Like, it's an opinion. It's not
well,
fact.
it's valid though. You know, like you look at the circle of influence, what you watch on TV. You can
Yeah.
easily say what you watch on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't like what somebody's saying, unsubscribe. That's how
Yeah.
you
Easy as
can
that.
filter that out. You know, or on social media, if you don't like what somebody's posting, unfollow them. You
Yeah.
know, you can control your attitude and how you treat others. Like I love how it says how you speak. You know, I can
Yeah.
control how I treat others and how I speak to others. I can't control how they respond back to me.
Yeah.
And talking about the video, you know, there's a clear line of opinion versus fact, right? So
Yeah.
because this guy makes a review about other influencers, that is him sharing his opinion. He's not saying throughout that this is fact.
Yeah.
You know, this is
It's
100% true.
That's it. That's the law.
Yeah, this is the law. So if you agree or
And
disagree, that's because it's this guy's opinion. You're
yeah.
allowed to disagree with an opinion, and you can show like, hey, I respect. There's a certain way to say that, like, hey, I respect the way that you approach this. I may not agree with all of it, but I can see the reasoning how you got to these different, you know,
Yeah.
uh, rankings.
Right.
You don't have
Right.
to say, like, hey, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
don't agree. Like that's a whole nother
Yeah.
way to approach it. You know, don't let this guy's opinion influence your own attitude because his opinion is in the circle of concern that you can't control.
Yep.
But what you
Yeah.
can control is that circle of influence, which is how you respond to that.
Yep.
So, you know, that's something that you'd sent me a video from Hannibal TV just about somebody talking about opinion versus knowledge or
Yeah.
opinion versus fact. And I just think I see that happen all the time.
Yeah.
And it drives me
They
nuts.
a lot of us, we confuse our opinion with fact, and because we believe in it, the minute you rationalize it, then it makes sense to you. So you think,
Right.
therefore, it's like scientifically proven. No one can put holes in my theory. But a lot of times, like, and the last thing I'll say about the circle of influence, which another book that really, really was life changing. I definitely recommend, if you guys are into checking out different books, is a book that's titled "The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari" by Robin Sharma. Definitely read it. That's been my favorite book. I read it and was life changing. He says, keep your eye on the summit while clearing a path, and it's really like focusing on what is your goal, not letting your concerns take over, because the last thing you want to do is end up at the top of a summit and it's the wrong summit. It's going to be the last day. You're going to be on your deathbed, and you're going to realize I climbed the wrong mountain because I lost my vision. I didn't have any vision, and that's why a lot of times companies have vision statements and mission statements. They're two different things, but they're crucial to the organization. Now, if you take that model and you apply it on a personal level, like I really strongly feel that every individual should have a mission statement. What are you out to do? What's your purpose? Find your why. And then what's your vision statement? How do you want others to see you? And then how do you see yourself? If those two things align, then like, okay, this is my compass. It's getting me in the right direction. I'm keeping my eye on the summit. I know I'm going to climb that mountain. It's going to be painful, but if you're not conscious of what steps you're making, you could end up on the wrong summit. So that book definitely kind of laid out the path for me, laid out the foundation. That's the Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robert Sharma. It was life changing, and it's always stuck with me. It's like, yeah, keep your eye on the summit while clearing a path. So this way you don't get lost. It's easy to get lost, especially with so much noise out there, and especially now with social media and stuff like that. So just wanted to share that circle of influence with you guys. Yeah, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think it's something that I think needs to be. It's a good reminder, I think, for people. And I put it back to that, like, put up or shut up type of thing.
Yeah.
You can sit around all day concerning yourselves with, is this going to be successful? Are people going to like it? Am I doing this the right way? Am I going to say the right thing? Or you can just take a chance and control how you want to deliver it, control what you're saying, control, what people are saying, and then kind of let it do its thing. But like, don't concern yourself with things that you can't control. Worry about what you can and cannot influence.
Yeah. And it's super hard. Like, it's not easy. And I think, I've seen and reading a lot of these books. I think Denzel Washington said it best, where it's like, it wasn't meant to be easy. If it was easy, then everybody would do it. Reading all these books, I created an acronym, and it's funny because it spells out pain, and it's a reminder that it's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be painful, but through it, hopefully I'll be stronger, and the P is for personal development. And that's kind of like the whole reason why we started the podcast, is reminding everybody, don't let the collection be your all. Don't let the love for the hobby be at 24/7. There's times that we've brought up different topics, like we talked about the supports, like make time for yourself, or make time for your spouse, or your kids, or your dog, or your family. Like, make time for that. Make time to hit the gym. Make time to read a book. Make time to play some game. Like, you gotta divvy up that time, right? You got to make time for your personal development in your career, whether you're flipping burgers, pushing a broom, or making buildings, or selling cars. Like, whatever it is, you want to be at your top level game. You want to be able to provide that world-class service. So that's what the P is for personal development. Then the A is for achievements. Like, what goals do you have? If you're right now as a level 1 intern, okay, what is it going to take to become a level 2? What is it going to take to get that permanent job? Like, you always want to be striving, so that way you can look back and say, hey, a year ago I was a junior assistant. Now I'm an executive assistant. Like, set those benchmarks for you. Make sure you always have achievements. I is for implement. Whatever game plan you have, you want to make sure you implement it, you evaluate it, you make sure it's working. And if it doesn't work, and I think we've said this before, then change the recipe. Because if you're doing the same thing over and over and you expect the same result, you're going to go crazy. Or you expect different results. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Like, re-examine that game plan and make sure you're implementing it and making the right changes. And then the last one is, and never give up. Like, go back to the drawing board, keep at it. There's a Batman quote that I used to have in my cubicle when I first made it from like my retail job to the corporate job. And it was like, no matter how many times, I fall down 8 times, I get up 7, 9 times. And people would always, they're like, why do you have a Batman quote on there? I'm like, hey, never give up. And then it changed to like, I am vengeance. But it's going to be painful, and at the end of it, you should be stronger.
I mean, that is powerful stuff. It's motivational. And back to your Batman quote, it's not how you fall down, it's how you get up. It defines your character. How can you how do you face challenges, and how do you represent yourself when you have those challenges? And just before we put this topic to bed, just remember that these influencers in the community are providing you a service. They're helping you determine if you want something or if you don't. They're showing you a figure, they're showing it off. They may not list pros and cons, but they're kind of trying to go through and just show you, hey, this is what you're getting if you order this figure.
Yeah. It's supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be escapism. We're just trying to have fun. So just take that remember that when you're watching an influencer, they don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a world in the toy community where we don't have toy reviewers because they've been so
that was my childhood.
Well, you think about it, you push someone enough, they may just stop doing it. Would you want to see the toy reviewers disappear because the community has become so toxic that they are just jumping on bandwagons when these people they're saying something that maybe they don't agree with? So just remember that these influencers are providing your service. Show some respect. You're allowed to disagree. I'm not saying you can't disagree, but just do it in a respectful manner. And know that your opinion is not a fact.
It's not opinions a fact. Nate will come after you.
Yeah, opinions are the lowest form of knowledge. You're forming an opinion with something that you've just heard or you've seen. You're assuming that it's right, and you're saying it out there, and you're assuming that's fact. And people jump on that. They're like, "Yeah, see, he said it. It's true." It doesn't mean it's true. A fact is based on real world knowledge, real world experience, or you have some type of experience doing that specific thing. That's a fact.
And it's sad that you don't need much for that type of stuff to just take off. Again, it's that rhetoric that's mind-numbing. It's like I don't know. It's kind of sad to see, but it's on a lighter note. It's funny because my son was like, "What did you used to do before YouTube? Like, what would you watch?" And I'm like, "TV, or I'd go outside and play." He's all, "Who would you play with?" I'm like, "The other neighborhood kids." It's like they'd come outside too. It's like, what do you guys like? His mind's like, "Wait, what? That's crazy." Yeah. There was no internet before.
It's weird to think about, And
so how was it back in the olden days? I'm like, okay, I'm not that old. Like, come on, man.
But truthfully though, you'd have to go on like a website and read somebody's review or see like images or something.
Well, we had Toy Fair. Remember, we had the Wizard.
Oh, that's true. You had the magazine.
And I would just pictures and I would just read it. And I'm like, oh, and I'd be excited. I'd be like, man, I can't wait to walk in and see the pegs full of legends for $8. That was the good old days.
And that was real enjoyment though, because you are looking at things that you're truly interested in.
You
don't give a shit about when somebody else thinks about it. Like, I don't care.
When gas was $1.
I want it.
When I used to buy a loaf of bread for a nickel. No. I used to walk 6 miles in the snow. It never snows in California, but
hey, you get snow like you can't drive north and get snow because I can drive a little bit.
I have to go really up north, but not where I live. Like I think I've seen snow only when I go to like Tahoe or Reno. But well, that's what I tell my kids. I'm like, I had to walk 10 miles through the snow and fight a bear.
Back in my day, we used to walk 15 miles.
Buy a loaf of bread with a nickel, and I still would get change. And he's like, really? I'm like, no, I'm just playing.
No, it was never that cheap when I was a kid.
No.
But yeah, it's a great topic. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, or it resonates with you a bit.
Yeah.
When you're going through the video and you're hitting the like button, because we always appreciate when you hit that like button. Make sure you're leaving us a comment below. What are your thoughts on the circle of influence? What are your thoughts on some of the situations that we talked about? What are your thoughts on circle of concern? Has this been helpful to you? Do you have other opinions that you would like to share that might help others? And just, try to just remember that these influencers are doing us a service.
So let's have a dialogue in the comments. Like, I always love going back and forth with some of y'all. You guys always provide amazing insight and a different perspective. I love going back and reading the comments. So
yeah, there's something about going into someone's live stream of one of these influencers that we follow, and you see that the chat is full of people that you've seen before, and it's it's a positive.
I'm telling you, it's like walking into a virtual bar, and you're just everyone knows your name.
It's a lot of fun. You see somebody jump in the chat, you got like 10 people saying, "Hey, what's up, Prime?" What's up, Prime? They're calling each other out.
Bunch of beef emojis.
Yeah, right. They might be poking fun at who's on screen, but they're doing it in a way that's like, okay, everybody knows that they're just
playful.
Joking. Yep. It's a fun interaction, and I want to keep harnessing that. So when you see some asshole jumping in, like, don't feed the trolls. let that
No.
guy go away. If you don't feed the troll, he'll eventually just stop being a troll.
Yeah.
And don't
Starve your
become the troll.
distraction and
Nobody
feed the
likes a troll.
focus. No.
Exactly. Cool. That's a great topic, man. I loved it.
Yeah. My pleasure. I come back strong, man. I take
Yeah,
a little
I
bit
mean,
of R&R. That's the thing, balance. Like that's that personal development balance. You gotta like
it's so
everything in moderation
important.
works fantastic. And then you come back and that's where you get your greatest ideas. I went for so many freaking walks, not to go left, but I was like going for. I'm like, wow, what are we gonna? And I'm like, oh, I got it. I'm gonna talk about this. Or we're gonna talk about that. And then it just so happened to coincide with stuff that was going on with the SDCC, and I'm like, oh, it ties in, good. And then I enjoyed my fruit cocktail or my beer or whatever I was having at that time. A
Well,
lot of good food.
I love how you talk about balance though, because it's just so damn important. And if the toy community is the only thing that you concern yourself with, I think you're really selling yourself short of,
That's
like
crazy.
there's other things
You're
in the
gonna,
world.
yeah. I mean,
I
even the
haven't.
toy committee, it's all about balance. You got to balance your
It
figs,
is.
balance your life.
Yeah, you can't have figures being the only thing that you
Oh,
talk about and the only thing that you deal with in your life. You got to have other things like go on vacations, go outside, spend time with your family,
and
do
you know
other
what's
things.
crazy? When it really dawned on me was, and I think I've mentioned this before, but um, there was when I first moved out, there was and me and my wife were living in this tiny apartment. Our neighbor was like a sports memorabilia collector. He collected like it was everything, right? Every type of sport. And it was jam packed in his little garage and stuff. And one day I was talking to him, the next day he was gone. And I was like, man, that's crazy. Like Jack just like firefighters showed up, and then his brother from Florida flew out, and I'm like, hey, like what? Where is he at? And they're like, oh, he didn't make it. Like he's gone. And
Oh
I'm like,
well.
dang. I'm like, that's crazy. And they're like, yeah. They're like, do you want any of his stuff? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, we're just gonna. We only came for like pictures and some
Man.
other stuff. They're like, but all his memorabilia, like we're just gonna give it away. We don't even want to deal with selling it. Nothing. We're just, and they got some like junk haul or people that come and just pick up junk. And man, it was like seeing vultures go through a carcass. Like just they're picking up stuff and they're like, oh man, baseballs that were signed, jerseys that were framed.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
these guys must have been like, we hit the jackpot. And to me, I'm like, that sucks. When I kick the
Well,
bucket, there ain't gonna be a figure on the shelf. There ain't gonna be nothing for nobody to come and pick up. Like no, I don't want to just be consumed with the hobby 24/7 and then miss. And again, that goes back to my point, like not keeping my eye on the summit and just being stuck in the weeds. Like I don't want that. It goes by so fast, and especially
mhm.
like as I get older, you notice, and having my kids doesn't help because I'm like, hey, I remember when you used to sit in my lap and you were a year and now you're 10. Like that's crazy. 10 years went by so fast. It's crazy. So yeah,
Yeah, it goes
moderation.
to show that nobody values your stuff probably as much as you do.
Oh,
So
dude, that broke my heart seeing that. I was like, man, he used to always talk about his baseball collection, or he
yeah,
would talk about
and he
that it was just crazy because he was an older guy, and he wasn't even that old. He was probably, let's say, I was in my late 20s. He was probably like in his 50s, mid 50s, because he said he was forced to retire due to medical issues. And he would always talk about how his dad would take him to baseball games, and he was from the East Coast, so he's like talking about the Yankees. He was talking about how like the Dodgers used to be in Brooklyn. Like he would tell me, we would talk about sports all day long. Now I'm like,
mhm.
oh, slams dunks. No cats
Nice.
were harmed, but he did have a handful of cats. But yeah, it was just crazy seeing that, like how one night we're outside talking about sports, and then the next day he's gone, and then like 2 days later they're going through his garage. And to me, that was just, it gives me chills. I
Yeah,
don't want
just
nobody going through my bins. I'm gonna sell all my stuff is
no.
being sold.
Yeah, because you could just see like a junkyard
Ah,
company comes and
yeah.
they're like,
They're
hey,
just like rummaging, just figures
right.
everywhere. They're like,
Oh shit, these
"What's
are
this?
toy
Ah,
bins.
Two Face.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give this to my dog."
yeah, stuff that's like so valuable that you've spent so much time collecting and spending money on, and then you pass away and everybody's just like, this is junk. Let's just get rid
They're
of this
like, "Look at
crap.
this fire hydrant. Let's
Yeah,
chuck it."
get out of
Yeah,
here. Rorschach figure, who cares?
yeah. This enabler knife. What? I'm gonna go cut me some fish with this.
Yeah, the toy
Yeah,
community is a form of escapism, but don't make it your life because
yeah, yeah.
it's going to be a small it's going to be a small life for you if that's all you're thinking about. But yeah, Great topic, man. I love talking about it. Like we talked about, guys, when you're hitting that like button, leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts. Love to hear from you. Like, keep it an open discussion, like Prime said. Maybe we'll bring this into the next Motivation Monday. What you
that'd be good.
think about it. All right, moving on to other topics. We've got our pre-orders.
Hey, yo.
And you've been kind of living under a rock for the last 2 weeks, being out of town and not.
I was just enjoying my walks and my fruit cocktails. Man, food was like street food. I freaking love it.
You mentioned fruit cocktails.
It's almost
times.
I know. It's like you're rolling the dice sometimes, but I really have like a good radar for like, oh, that place is good and I'm not gonna get sick.
Mm-hmm.
And like we're gonna go get some food. And man, it was just the bomb. And it seemed like you can get a cup of fruit everywhere. Yeah, dude, like $2-3. And they're like, you want a large or medium? I'm like, I'll take a medium. And then it's like this cup the size of my forearm. I'm like, damn, I wonder what a large would have looked like. Like a lot of those pictures, like the cups were a medium. I did get a large one time, and it was like way too much. Like, me and my wife couldn't finish it.
You shared one in your story. I showed my wife. She's like, wow, that's a lot of fruit.
Oh, it was so good. And it was so fresh. Like, I loved it.
Oh, yum. I'm glad you had fun, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since you've been gone, and I know you collect
what pre-orders have come up?
I want to get your thoughts on a new pre-order that dropped this week, which is the Thundercats Ultimate Invisible Tigra BBTS exclusive.
Man, I freaking love this. Like, I don't know what it is. I saw it and I might have been Plasty that had put it up, or Toy Bro. I don't know, but one of you son of a guns, like, I couldn't go to BBTS fast enough and put it in my cart. I think it might have been Plasty. And I was just ecstatic. Like, I don't know, just something about a translucent figure I freaking love. Like, and it's Tigra. Like, I don't know. It's nostalgic for me. So that picture sold me. I was like, yes, he's invisible.
Yeah. Beautiful shots. Whoever did these shots, like, really, really showed off. Like, you think about it, like, translucent figure, that thing is going to be hard to shoot. But then you see these shots, you're like, whoa, okay, these are some great ideas.
I'm like, ooh, he's invisible.
So not being a big Thundercats guy, I don't really understand the invisible part of this. Can you explain why he's invisible?
Because that was just like they each had like a trick.
Okay.
They each had like a mutant power or a gimmick, and his was he would turn invisible, and it's almost like the Miles Morales thing. Like he turns invisible and like he goes and sneaks off, and just that was his thing.
Okay, so it's like his power.
Yeah.
So you got this one. It's a BBTS exclusive, which is a little surprising.
Which made me even want to jump on it even more, because I was like, oh, I don't want to sleep on it and then regret it, and then I have to like give out 1,000,000 points again, if you know what I'm saying. I don't have 1,000,000 points to give out, so I was like, I'm just gonna jump on it. I'm just gonna shell out and pre-order the sucker.
Well, yeah, I wanted to make sure we covered Thundercats, and it's
gonna go good with my Thunder Tank.
Yes, it will. In other news, we have a lot of new Marvel Legends reveals.
Yeah.
So we've got the new What If wave coming, which is going to have a Howard the Duck figure.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting. He looks like a kind of a statue, though, I gotta say.
It looks kind of like a Happy Meal toy to me.
Yeah, it looks like he's got no leg.
Doesn't come with fries or a shake or a burger or chicken nuggets.
I'm surprised he's a standalone. Sauce. I would expect if you're going to give me a figure like Howard, which only seems to have arm movement, maybe head movement, he should be like an accessory for another figure, not his own standalone figure.
Well, if he's going to be his own standalone figure, I don't want to pay no more than $9.99. Like, what's the price of a Happy Meal? Like $6-7? He shouldn't be no more than $6-7. But if he's $25.99 or $24, like, no, I'm not buying him for. And what piece does he come with? Does he come with a torso?
I think he comes with kind of a.
He comes with like the biggest piece, like
the biggest
piece. That's what you're paying for.
On purpose,
the Build-A-Figure piece.
Yeah,
the Build-A-Figure piece is bigger than him.
It is. Yeah. It's funny that you point out the Build-A-Figure piece, because I'm like, oh man, they did that on purpose. Like, you're gonna have to buy Howard for sure.
What was it? The Venom Monster Wave. Didn't Spider-Ham come with somebody, or did he come by himself? Did he come with a chest piece? I can't.
I don't know. I'm not even gonna try.
Damn, I can't. I don't know if they did the same thing. Like, he came with the chest piece, but Spider-Ham. Yeah, I remember. I was like, damn it, I don't want to buy Spider-Ham because he doesn't really move. And I think he came with like a chest piece. Damn it, they got me once. Not gonna get me again. And I'm not a huge Howard the Duck fan. Like I know like Howard the Duck has almost like a cult following, but
Mhm.
when that movie came out, he freaked
Oh,
me out. Like it
that movie's
wasn't
awful.
didn't Jason
It's
didn't Jason Alexander do his voice? So all
I think
by the
so.
time I really resonated with Howard the Duck, all I can think was George Costanza because
Yeah,
I was like no, like he looked freaky. Like he just looked too freaky. It was weird. I
that movie
never
does not hold up over time. It is not a good movie. I don't
it
think
wasn't a
anybody's
good
gonna
movie when it
watch
first came
Howard the
out.
Duck and they're gonna be like, "Hey, I want a Howard the Duck figure now." Like, no,
No,
that guy's
there's
freaking creepy. I don't want him.
right? He is
Yeah.
creepy. Yeah.
Then you got a Scott Lang head in the jar,
Yeah.
and then he comes with the Conchu BAF
The build
piece.
figures really kill. Like I love the
He
build
does look
figure.
really good. Yeah.
But
Then you've
it's
got
just yeah.
a
That's
new
an
Red
old body on
Skull.
there. I think it's an old body.
I was gonna say the body doesn't look new.
No.
The Red Skull head looks new.
Yeah. But then it's just the cosmic cube and that's it. Like
Yeah,
no
I
extra
mean,
hands.
he comes with
Look,
the
you're
arm
getting
for Conchu.
one arm and the cosmic cube. Like
So it's funny. You're getting one arm for Conchu, but you're not getting anything, no other hands for Red
yeah.
Skull. That just, you know,
That's my biggest gripe. But to me, I'm like, hey, easy pass for me. I just want
right.
the bath, but easy
Hmm.
pass.
Yeah. So you'll be probably getting the individual releases and then just selling off the
No,
figures
I'm not.
just to get
I'm gonna
Conchu.
be looking for the bath once like people get tired of Conchu.
Then you've got Kang, or who they're calling He Who Remains.
Yeah.
So
Figure
based
looks
on his
great. Like the
great likeness to the
yeah.
actor. Yeah.
Love the apple. I wish it would have came with more fruit at least, or some
Yeah.
desk accessories, because he had a bunch of cool stuff in the
He
show.
did.
Like
Hmm.
you know,
In the Loki
I
show.
don't know, just something more. He just comes with an apple. Like
Yeah.
not
That
even a one that's
seems
bitten.
so
Like
bare
that's
bones.
man, that's crazy.
Give me at least another expression, you know?
New packaging, so I can't even see if he's gonna have wonky eyes or not. And then
Hmm.
all I'm getting is an apple and what a head. Like, yikes! The
Yeah, I mean,
prices
this just
are
looks really barren.
that
Plus
does
apple, plus Conchu head. That's it.
no fists, no
No
trigger
fists.
hands,
Yeah, no
no
nothing.
no expression.
26
Maybe
bucks.
of him biting an apple. Like that's what I would have wanted. Like
Yeah, like
give me a bitten apple.
a different version of an apple, or like a,
Yeah,
you know, like a face that
just the
shows him.
core.
Yeah, something just a little different. You know, I'm not a big Marvel Legends collector, but man, it's hard to buy into it when you're
20,
just not getting
26
much.
bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then you've got this Marvel Legends zombie, Scarlet Witch.
she looks really
Um,
cool.
yeah, I mean, the face sculpt, you can tell they definitely put in some
Yeah,
work to make that look really good.
I
It's
just wish
very
there would have been a little bit
specific.
more on her body.
Yeah, I feel like this figure is very specific. So, you know, if you don't really care for it, then you can't really do a whole lot else with this. You know, you really got one look you can go with here. But if you collected the zombie cap, this
Yeah.
might be a cool way to get like a zombie Avengers team because they did another release.
What does she come with? Just the effects.
Yeah, it looks like she comes with just the effects.
Yeah, the effects and that's
Which these effects have probably been released many times, right?
I have like 20 of those.
Yeah. So like
I don't
you
know.
could
The
have just given
accessories
some
are
other
just mind
hands.
blowing to me. I don't know.
Yeah, you're not getting much.
You're just getting the figure,
Yeah, just the figure and the
and then
BAF pieces.
if you're gonna sell it loose, you're not gonna get 20 bucks. I don't know. You think you'll get 20 bucks for a loose figure? 20 plus
No,
shipping?
I think if people know it's not coming with the
15 plus shipping?
BAF part, you're probably going to get 15,
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, at that point, I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah, because I could probably just find it at a toy show loose for like 10 to
Yeah.
15 bucks.
Yeah.
You know, cheap.
Yeah. If not
Jimmy
cheaper.
Woo.
Yeah.
I like how we're
Great.
getting some diversity in the civilians here. This is cool.
Yeah. With this card.
Yeah, with this card, he's got a badge. He's got an additional accessory more than any other figure we've seen so far. A badge.
That's cool, the badge, because you can take it off and he's just a regular dude. Put the badge
you
on.
use that badge on other
Detective Wu.
characters.
Yeah. I like they should almost come up with a civilian pack, like just all random civilians that you've seen in the movies, you know?
Yeah. It comes
But
with
he
extra
comes with an extra
hand with
yeah,
the card.
hey,
Whoa.
that one's not as bad.
Yeah.
And it's a new character, Jimmy Woo, like.
And I don't remember seeing this body really on anything else, so he looks quite a bit different. And then last but not least in this Oh no, we've got two. You got the Marvel Legends Zombie Iron Man.
I like the head sculpt. And see, they did a little bit more. You can see the ribs there on the abdomen. That's cool. The forearm.
Yeah, you
I
got
like the
some
head sculpt.
battle damage going on here. The head sculpt looks great. I mean, that's the thing with these zombie figures is the head sculpts. Like Cap looked great.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch has a great head sculpt. Zombie Iron Man. You know, it doesn't really do a whole lot for me because it's such a specific look that unless I really wanted a zombie
I'm
team,
just like I'm holding back on these Marvel zombies because if they were giving us like the comic ones, I'd be all over it. But
I know you're a big Marvel
glad.
Zombies fan.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
these
got
are
my
just so
Marvel Select
specific
ones.
to the show. It'd be cool if they did a wave of just Marvel Zombies from the comic.
Yeah.
Because now that they've got the bodies, why not, put some different paint deco on it?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the old Loki, which
Yeah.
is the last figure in this line. It's cool. I think, old Loki's one of those figures that a lot of people have probably wanted from seeing Loki. I love how he comes with a different head sculpt.
Yep.
So
yeah, I really like the choice on the character. It's cool. Very classic Loki, and you get two different expressions. Again, it's not as bad, but it's still like very lacking at the same time.
Yeah, definitely a bit bare bones.
Yeah.
We've got some other stuff, but we already spent a lot of time on pre-order, so we'll save the rest of it for their next live.
Yeah.
And we'll move into Plastic Confessions.
Oh, I had Plastic Confession, man. I got several items in transit, so I don't want to reveal them yet. They're in transit. I thought they were going to get here today. They're scheduled to not get here. I got a package coming in on Monday, and I got another package coming in on Wednesday, and then my last package comes in on Thursday. I'm pumped. I'm gonna have a bunch of stuff for next week.
A lot of stuff. I thought you would have at least something because you've been gone. But yeah.
Yeah, no, and I did, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna time it perfectly." And then when I checked the tracking, it's like, "Oh, it hasn't moved like in a day. It got shipped out, but it didn't move like in a day or two." And I'm like, "Ah, come on!" But what I did pick up, and it did arrive, was the Jim Lee Uncanny X-Men trading cards book that you've been seeing a lot on Instagram and stuff.
That's cool.
I don't know, for some reason I thought it was gonna be like a regular size book. It's a smaller book. It's like the size almost of a bath.
It's like a bathroom book.
It's like a little over 7 inches, 8 inches. But at the same time, like we're talking about it before we started, and that almost makes sense because it doesn't have a bunch of literature. It's just a book on the cards, which is exactly what I wanted. And then it comes with its own set of cards. There's like 4 cards on there, and then
that's really cool. And they're old school.
Yeah, really cool. And on the back,
first one, that's cool.
Yeah, so you get 4 cards, the replicas, and the cool thing is I had picked up this set, I think last year or the year before, right before like everybody was trying to get into cards. This was the last set that I was missing from my Marvel cards collection, was the Jim Lee set. So I'm glad that they came out with this book. I wish they do the other Marvel card series because it was really cool just to see that art again, and you get like a quick bio on the card. It's really cool. It tells you a little bit, just some background on each card.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a good way to get Marvel.
Like, which team did you? Were you blue team or gold team?
I think I was more of the gold team.
So which one's the gold team? The bottom one or the
bottom one?
You're a gold team. Oh, you passed the test. Yeah. I thought you were gonna say I'm the team with Jean Grey, and then you were gonna I'm on her. Is that you're on the team with Jean Grey?
I thought you were
gold team.
I was ready to poke fun at myself, and you said it. I was like, whichever one has Jean Grey on it.
Okay, so you're with blue team.
Yeah, that's more a classic show. I didn't really know X-Men really before the cartoon series, so I feel like Gold Team was really part of the cartoon series a lot. Even though you got some of the blue team, like Archangel did make an appearance, Bishop does make an appearance.
I was always split because I'm a huge Colossus fan, and I was like, damn, he's on the wrong team. I'm like, I'm like, but there's Gambit, Wolverine, Beast, Cyclops. I'm like, oh, Rogue. I go where Rogue goes. So yeah.
You mean Jean Grey?
I'm like, Jean Grey can touch whatever, and I'm like, wait, that's not Jean Grey.
Excuse me? No, everybody. I know who Jean Grey and Rogue is. I shot myself in the mouth again. I've done that before.
Yeah. So I got that book in, and then got this shirt in. Look at this.
Dope. Speaking of Gold Team.
Yeah.
That's Gold Team right there.
So this I picked up from Ripped Apparel, which I am the latest brand ambassador joining the Ripped Apparel team. It's cool. It gives me an opportunity to kind of just shed light on particular artists. What they do is they sell um, limited edition and unique limited edition designs on hoodies, shirts, and posters, and more. And they do like weekly sales, bunch of promos. So I'll be able to share that with you guys. You guys are following me on Instagram. I'll be trying to share it on all my social media platforms, but it's just giving you guys updated on what's currently on sale, any promotions they have, a referral link where you get like $5 off your first order. So I'll be posting a lot of that stuff on my page, and I'm gonna try to pick up at least a couple shirts once a month, and then do like my favorite shirt of the week or so. I don't know if I can buy a shirt every single week, but I'm gonna try to at least do it. That's gonna be a lot of shirts, but at least like 2 shirts a month. I think that's not overdoing it. So I got this shirt in, and man, I'm freaking loving it. Like,
that's an awesome shirt. I really like it.
Make sure you guys check them out.
Yeah, and pay attention to Prime's socials too, because I'm sure he'll share that referral code. So if you guys want some money off your Ripped Apparel shirts, you can get hooked up by Prime. Really cool.
I love how Storm's eyes freaking glow.
The different eyes. It's if for anybody listening, it's just basically different cuts of each figure. You're looking at just their eyes, but the eyes alone tell you exactly who it is. You get Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, Gambit, Rogue.
I'm just wearing a shirt. That's it. There's no pants underneath.
Yeah, I was gonna say don't stand up too much because then we'll
I'm just wearing it as a skirt.
Yeah,
it's no pants. It's no pants Saturday today.
Well, speaking of X-Men, I'm gonna sort of cheat because I already talked about this one on the Monday motivation, but I got my Mezco Wolverine.
Oh man,
and
mine should be here on Monday.
Fantastic.
Ooh,
like I knew he was gonna be good, but wow, I mean, compared to the older comic stuff they did,
blew your socks off.
Wolverine is just so good. I saw
somebody post a picture of like the old Wolverine, the new one, and it looks like the new Wolverine is on keto and he lost a bunch of weight, and
one thing that toying around pointed out that I didn't notice at first, but his tiger stripes in the back actually don't line up. And I think they're all like that, but on the front they line up just fine.
Hey, it's the front that matters. No one's it's a party in the back, business in the front.
I was going to say, this fig's perfect. And then he's like, hey, is anybody else's tiger stripes screwed up? I'm like, God damn it.
Damn it,
kid. Is. But from a frontal view, he looks good. And this damaged Wolverine head is so good because you can see the adamantium kind of poking through.
Yeah.
And he's just smiling. He's like, oh, I'm damaged, but I don't care.
Yeah, who cares?
Just so badass. I haven't been shooting. I talked about this a little bit, talking about balance. I've been taking a little bit of break from toy photography recently.
Yeah.
But he's one of the ones that is on my docket to shoot. So that's
I know it's gonna take you a long time when you're painting your house with a Sharpie. You either gotta get a bigger Sharpie or you gotta get a different approach.
So many Sharpies, man. So many Sharpies.
I get this picture. You're trying to paint a wall with a Sharpie. Just your hand is gonna be like
so cramped. T-Rex. I'm buying the big Sharpies with the huge tip, so you can just No, I've been painting my house. It's taking me a lot longer, but I'm trying to save money by doing it myself. And it's just, it's a long process and you want to do it right. So you got to take your time.
When you do things yourself, it takes forever.
All right. Moving into Nasty Nate's Dirty Tricks. My trick for the week, pretty easy one. Learn basic post-processing.
Oh, yeah.
And what I mean by that is taking a shot and using some type of editing tool. It doesn't have to be Photoshop. It doesn't have to be, anything fancy or expensive. I think I've got Lightroom, which is like $5 on my phone. Mm-hmm. But rather than using filters, what I see some people sometimes do is they'll use a filter on their phone, or they'll wait until they get to Instagram. They'll use one of those basic filters.
Yeah.
Don't do that. The filters aren't great. They're pretty cheap. They'll change the colors. They'll change everything about the photo that you maybe didn't want, but at least I got half of what I wanted. Don't use the Instagram filters. They're not that great. What I recommend doing is shooting your shots in RAW. So if you have a DSLR, shoot in RAW, which means it's got really no filters, nothing. It's just shooting it basically with only the light. And it may not come out the exact color or brightness that you want, but that's what the post-processing will do for you. So if you got something like Lightroom, you can just use basic Lightroom editing, which increases exposure, or you can increase your shadows, or just kind of make the colors pop. You can add filters on that if you want, like different color gradients. That's the better way, I think, to do it. And you don't really have to have a whole lot of knowledge. Like, you don't need to be an expert on Photoshop to use Lightroom. It's very easy. One thing I find very useful on Lightroom is the masking tool. And basically what that lets you do is paint. Like if I want to, I can just highlight only the figure.
Oh, yeah.
And then I can increase the brightness on the figure, or change the contrast, or really increase the colors. Like you can get a lot more specific with just basic post-processing tools.
Yeah.
So if you aren't doing some kind of editing, I really recommend doing that. Even just little tweaks. I'm not saying you have to like Photoshop the whole image. I'm just talking about little things to enhance the image can really go a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
Every single shot that I do has some kind of just very light post-processing, some heavier than others. Like being able to erase flight stands. That's great for Lightroom. You can use the masking tool. But just something that hopefully that helps you guys.
Awesome.
There's a lot of free apps out there that you don't have to pay for something. There's tons of free post-processing apps, but you should be doing something like that, because that is a big part of the photography process, is not only capturing the image, but kind of customizing it a bit, making it look a little bit nicer.
Yeah, there's one that I use. It's called Handy Photo. And I think it was like $5.99, $9.99. It's really good. It comes with all that masking, auto correction. Like it's really cool.
Yeah, Handy Photo is a great one. If you have trouble getting borders, so like sometimes Instagram will cut off your photo from the top and bottom. I use something called InShot, which adds borders to the sides and lets me post the full image, so you don't have to cut off pieces of your photo, because that's really annoying. What's another one? Adobe Photoshop Mix is a great one.
Yeah.
What are some other ones?
Still on my apps.
Yeah, there's one called PixArt, which is great. It's another.
We should have just named our apps and then been like, did we just become best friends? Yup.
Yeah.
You want to do karate in the garage?
Yeah, the same apps.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one called Photo Leap. I mean, there's just so many out there. So just take a chance. Like, download a free one, see if you like it, see what it offers you. Some of them have stickers. You can like add little effects to your shot really easily. It's just, there's tons of stuff out there.
Yeah.
Going into that, last but certainly not least, we're going to talk about the Figure Aficionado for the week.
Here we go.
And I want to do a special shout out to this guy, because he not only listens to our episodes and supports us, but he actually used one of my dirty tricks in practice and did a shot with it and gave me a shout out. And,
nice.
Not somebody that we've covered before, but he does toy photography, and I think he deserves a bit more following. He's just his name's SB Figure Photos, and you can see just a busy husband and dad trying to have fun with the hobby. So this isn't his main thing. He's got a good balance going on, where he's a husband, he's a collector, he's just trying to do his own thing, but he also does toy photography. So the shot in question was this moon night photo, and this is, I think it's back on our prior episode with Power of Engagement, when I talked about using different perspectives. So he was motivated by me to try a different perspective. So this one's using the top down, which is really cool. I appreciate the shout out, SB Figure Photos.
And the BTS. That's very cool.
Yeah, and he's providing a BTS. You can see he's kind of doing a top down photo. Really came out awesome, man. I think it's cool that you did the experiment. Hopefully it helped you learn something, or you're a little bit more willing to do those kind of shots or change up this perspective. But he does some great work. He's got a predator shot here. You got this
very clean, simple background. I like it.
Yeah. And it's really just letting the figures speak for themselves. Like, you've got some diorama pieces in here, but he's really just trying to show off the figures. Cool. So yeah, go check out SB Figure Photos. Give him a follow. He does some great work, and he's just passionate about the hobby. He's just a good guy. He's always been supportive of the podcast. So we want to make sure that we support you, man. Thank you for the shout out. Thank you for listening. And hopefully my tricks continue to help you.
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah,
man, what an episode. We're coming down to the wire. And if you want to stay all up to date with everything that I have going on, make sure you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok, all under Prime2the1st.
Yeah, if you guys want to follow me, and even though I haven't been posting a lot lately, I will be posting at some point. You can follow me at figurefan_Nate on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Also, if you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed to the Figure Booth. It helps us out. Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell your kids.
Yeah, tell your kids to tell
the Figure Booth.
their friends. Yeah.
Yeah, and just keep that circle going. Hit the notification bell so you guys don't miss when we go live. If you want to support the podcast, go to thefigurebooth.com, get one of our awesome t-shirts. We've got 2 fan community created shirts. We've got our Booth is Not a Booth shirt, spreading rumors and starting beef, all kinds of shirts on there. If you want to support Prime, go to prime-arcade.com. You can support him. If you guys, I should have called out Max Fisher. He's been doing some amazing work with one of your arcades.
Oh man, yes, Max Fisher. Kudos to that guy. He was the winner of the first Contest Migos contest, and I donated a cab, and he ended up winning one of my cabs. And then because he lives in Canada, shipping was a little bit higher, right? And so he was like, hey, to even things out, I'll also buy an additional cab because I've been meaning to. This is a perfect opportunity. Again, it was an awesome conversation. Made him Miss Pac-Man, and then he took some shots, killed it. And then he sent me just like these 2 really crisp, clean shots, and he's like, here, you can use these however you want. You can throw them up on your site. And it was so funny because I was just thinking about that because it's been a while since I've updated some of those pictures, and my cabinets have changed very small, not drastically, but it's been in the details where the buttons are different, the joysticks, like all that. I designed those models, and they're resin print, so it adds a whole different level of detail to it. So when he sent me those pictures, I'm like, oh man, I need to update some of these pictures and reach out to the community and be like, hey, if you buy an arcade for me and you want your art to be featured on my site, like shoot me some pictures or post a picture, tag me on it, let me know. So I think for our live, we'll start promoting that, so that way I can update, keep it fresh. There's a lot of great cabinets that have been requested, so I want to make sure that it's reflected that of the community. So yeah, again, thanks Max Fisher, man. You guys, you killed it with those photos that you sent over to me.
Yeah, you did a great job, Max, and going full circle with the circle of influence, right back into it. And that makes sense. Use people that are using your cabinets as product shots. Look what people can do with my cabinets. That's a great way to sell it. So that makes a lot of sense. Cool. Yeah, go support Prime, prime-arcade.com. Get yourself your own cabinets. You will not be disappointed. All right. Well, that does it.
That does it, guys. As always, we'll catch you guys next time.
See you guys later.